when I was in the 5th grade, I received a like a little trophy, and as being the most polite child in the class.
In Salinas?
In Salinas. And I think it was because I was Japanese, and Japanese children are quiet and well-behaved and polite. But I do remember one of the awards that I got to go to a luncheon at a hotel where they had cloth napkins and nice silverware and a very nice fancy lunch, and it was just overwhelming for me to have this treatment. And it's something that I, to this day still remember. Remember the hotel, remember, I don't remember what we ate, but I remember what a nice setting it was for me to be able to go to a nice lunch. Because in those days we did not go to lunches outside of the homes. And our dinner was a big round table with like a party every night, every meal, with so many children. And we helped somewhat, but not as much as we really should have, I guess with my older sisters. But to this day, I'm thinking I really should have helped my mother a lot more, so I would know a lot more about cooking than everything trial by error after I got married. But as a farming family and all, in those days, everything was work, 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 and you didn't have the pleasure of eating out. And the only time that we did have banquets and things, and we got to eat outside of the home, was when someone got married, and we had these huge banquets at the church hall and all. And we just thought that was really something to be able to go there and eat outside of the home. And a few times when someone was returning to Japan, we took the trip from Salinas to San Francisco, and in those days it was before the freeways. And it was a big deal to go to San Francisco to see somebody off on the ships. And then after that, we got to go to a restaurant to eat. And boy, that was another big deal, something that we look forward to be able to eat at a restaurant, whether it's a Chinese restaurant or, at one time it was Fisherman's Wharf. And I remember when we ate at Fisherman's Wharf, my father complained about the salad because he grew acres and acres and acres of lettuce and all, and he said, they give you a whole plate of lettuce as though they're feeding a horse. But it was a treat for us to just be able to go any place to eat out. I did have to change my name from Hanaya, the Japanese name, which means a branch of a flower, to Violet. And that was in our principal's office when we returned. And there were about 5, 6 of us in his office, and he said, well, anybody with the Japanese names, you'll have to change it to an American name. And I don't know why, out of the clear blue sky, I changed it to Violet. And I didn't like that at all because of the teasing I got. But eventually it's been shortened to Vi, and I've been satisfied with that. I remember I returned as a freshman, left as a 5th grader, and returned as a freshman in high school. And I remember how awkward it was to come into a classroom, and I'm the only Japanese in the classroom. And we just felt very, very uncomfortable. And during lunchtime, we would all, the Japanese students, get together and ate together for lunch. and we attended some of the sporting events, but we always went with our small group of our Japanese students. It was a lot easier for my younger sister because she was in junior high, and somehow it was a lot easier. Also, I was thinking too, I know what a shock it was for me to go from my 5th grade class in Salinas to a 5th grade class or 6th grade in camp with all Japanese students. They were very, very sharp, very smart. I was just totally lost. That really was a big difference. But our curriculum lacked quite a bit, because when I saw what my sister had gone through in junior high and how much more she had than what I had through the middle grades, and then also when my older sister left camp to go to college back east, she had to repeat her senior year over again because evidently our senior year in camp was not accredited. For my father, he had made friends before the war, and he was very fortunate in that gasoline was brought back and filled the pump that he had for the farm equipment. And so little by little, it took a little while for him to get back on his feet. But I think a lot of it had to do with his friendly personality, and that he had made friends before the war. We just had to start from scratch all over again as far as furnishing the house and all that. And I know some of the stores had signs where we could not go in. And those were the very stores that my mother had shopped in before the war for our family needs. And some of the grocery stores had signs that we could not go into the stores. There were signs for us, and we knew. And I remember my mother spoke mostly Japanese with some English, but mostly Japanese. And we answered back all in English, so we did not really learn how to speak very well in Japanese. But when she would say something in Japanese, we'd say, shh, not so loud. We didn't want others around to have them hear her speak Japanese. And I noticed the difference between Salinas and Sacramento, because here I had to change my name and all, and then I have many friends who kept the Japanese names here in Sacramento, and they spoke Japanese and spoke quite loudly and all. I don't think that there was, and there are so many more Japanese here in Sacramento than in Salinas. Salinas had a big population of Japanese, but we happened to live on the outskirts of the town. In fact, our house was right on the borderline between the city and the county. And we didn't have any Japanese around us. But if you went further out into the country, there was nothing but Japanese. And so the schools there had a lot of the Japanese students. But where I went, I was really the only Japanese student in my class. And on the other side, it's like the tracks, this side of the tracks and the other side of the tracks. The other school had the population of the Japanese, where the Japanese stores were and everything, so there were quite a few more Japanese going to that school than the school where I went.